Welcome back to Ultima 5 Warriors of Destiny. God knows what part we're up to. Sorry that it's taken so long to get back to making these videos, but I've had microphone problems since I've upgraded to Windows 10. The microphone has not worked, so I just got a new webcam with a pretty good microphone, although it sounds weird. But anyway, let's get back into it. As you can see here, we were at Dungeon Hithloth. We headed over to Britain, or Lord British's castle, and proceeded from there. However, the game didn't save, so we've had to make do with starting from Hithloth again. As you can see, we just started to level up again to get everyone up to level 5, or level 4 I should say. And this portion takes some time. Using a fairly methodical practice. And it just continues leveling up. Well, leveling. Mainly to get Jana and Julia back up to the required levels. I found out that when your karma increases, the amount of experience that you keep increases as well. So karma essentially a percentage of how much experience you get to keep. So if you press Control K and it says 99%, you get to keep 99% of your experience points. Although it doesn't say 99%, it just says 99. So, well, that's neither here nor there. Particularly if you plan not to die. And as you probably can tell with this microphone, you can hear all my clicks and mouse movements and all that. Even the rustling of my beard on my headset and the creaking of my chair. I'll have to try and keep most of my movements down as much as possible. I increase the sensitivity so I don't have to speak up too loudly. But some of you may tell the difference between one ordinary mic and this set of mics. This webcam is the Logitech C930E, which has 2 microphones on it. And of course we're still leveling up. Grinding, grinding, grinding. And like I said, this takes a while. But ultimately, what we need is to get the shards from the Shadow Lords. And I'll show you at the end some more of the data that I've managed to collect during this process. And well, after this grinding, but during this video. We need to enter in 3 dungeons, and one is Hithloth, one is Shame, and the other is Deceit, I think. we'll go to the bottom of Covetous first. For no other reason than just to do it, since we've explored it quite thoroughly. We'll skip the fighting with the gargoyles and the Zorns and whatnot. If you hear a hissing sound, that's me on my vape device, which I've got a new one. And again, continue grinding. Julia's gotten up to the next level, so we're waiting on Yana. Excuse me. Excuse me again. But yeah, I also found out that I didn't have the word of power for the dungeon Hithloth, which is near the Shrine of Codex, but not through the same entranceway. You got to go from the sea, but more to the east, and you'll get to see. This video goes for around 10 hours, which is sped up by 25-fold. If you couldn't tell, that is. I did some exploring as well, so after this leveling up, that is. But I do apologise for if the sound quality is not up to par. We'll just have to bear with it for now. Because for whatever reason, not the video card, the sound device is not Windows 10 compatible. So for some reason, the microphone volume is extremely low at 100% volume. Unless I scream into the microphone, you wouldn't be able to hear me. So one of the perks of upgrading to Windows 10, which I slightly regret. I do apologise if my chair creaks too much. I probably should WD-40 it. This one I had difficulties with, this room, considering those tombstones are magically sealed and the whole room is magically sealed as well, I suppose. You can't use magic in these rooms. Just these particular ones. So there is probably a push-pull, something to do with push-pull on the pillars. But I was just exploring and trying to get more XP before I exit. Of course, we'll use some magic spells to get up and down Dungeon Covetous at the very least. And more grinding. As you can see, I stuck to one particular method of combat and just make it quicker to go through and grind without having to think too much. And of course you have to, in order to level up properly, you have to be on the plain, not on the mountain area, so a bit of a pain. But everyone's gotten up to the right level. We just continued grinding for a little bit more because I was unaware. Once we finish grinding, Snape will have 180 health. which means he's probably the only one at level 5. The others are at level 4. But when everyone is at level, at least minimum level 4, I think it's level 4, you get it becomes a lot easier. I know, level 5. Everyone's at level 5. While Snape is at level 6. It's also important to get these levels up so that you can cast the higher level magic. Because each circle of magic, like the first circle, you can only cast at, well, when you're at level 1, you can only cast the first circle of magic. So when you're up to level 8, you can cast up to 8th circle. Bit of a pain. Having to mix up the spell potions and all that sort of stuff while in the dungeon was a bit of a pain as well. But we're going, at the moment we're doing some exploring, see if we can get some more magic shields. Sell some stuff while we're at it. And we're going around and trying to get some more reagents. I'll have to go to the spot in Spiritwood and get some more black pearl. Which, if I remember correctly, the location is IF, not IF, that would be IA. So I think there's only 2 reagents that you have to harvest, and that's black pearl and mandrake root, if I'm not mistaken. I then also end up going back to some of these towns in order to find the word of power for Dungeon Hithloth. Also found out that the mage that were killed while we were in Jolom many episodes ago, we killed them by accident. He actually was going to tell us about the moon gates and how we can dig up the moonstones from the moon gates. And you probably do that by standing over where the moon gates appear and searching. Not 100% certain, but it's something you end up doing in Ultima 6 anyway, so I avoid doing digging, that sort of thing. I don't see much point. Each of the moon gates are close enough to each of the towns that it doesn't need to be worried about. We get small rations, I think. No, not yet. We're in Buccaneer's Den, or Pirate's Cove, and this is where we get the grappling hook from the dude at the bottom there. The dude with the grappling hook talks a lot about rum, nothing but rum. He's a mountain climber, so you talk to him about mountain climbing in order to get the grappling hook. Again, I'm checking the inventory, looking for magic shields and stuff. If you see me take any long pauses, that's me having to help someone else out. My housemate mainly. end up in the underworld, which I actually managed to get out. We just followed the path along here, using gems to see if we're getting any close to an exit. We managed not to have anyone killed, I think. I can't remember what dungeon it is that we came out of, but we succeeded. And that's all that really mattered. And I fell through a few traps too. But once we fell through the traps were exposed, so we could get around them. And the traps I'm talking about are pits. So fall through the floor and cut to the floor below. A bit of a pain, but didn't really affect the overall outcome. Just a bit of a pain in the ass. And I might have to start putting music back into these videos as the copyright infringement that I supposedly had was lifted. Back at Britain. Hopefully we haven't gone past the oppression yet. No, here's the oppression. And this is where you use the grappling hook in order to get through the mountains to get to the oppression. And this is where you learn about the shards being in the keeps in the underworld. Not that they give you a lot of details, but you also met Dupre and Sentry, which are companions from previous episodes, from the previous series, and did a lot of selling. This is the place where you buy magic shields, so that was a boon. So everyone's set up with almost the best gear. Had a few pirate ships to deal with. Oh, I'm helping someone by the looks of it. That place where is the resistance, not the oppression. Yeah, sometimes you get inundated with enemies. I'm trying to find the oppression now, which isn't where it's supposed to be, at least according to the map. But I did manage to find it. And I'll show you where it is about on the map. We also need the grappling hook to get through it, get to it. And that sign just says beware of the large rats, basically. Don't worry about the gargoyles, they won't hurt you. And when you sell out the resistance, you get some decent gear from here. The other thing that we learned is that we need the scepter, the crown, and the amulet of Lord British. We learned that from the resistance. And this is where I tried to get into Dungeon Hithloth. found out that I didn't have the word of power for it, so we went searching for it. Of course, I had difficulties. That guy that was eating, um, he's researching create food spell. Comes very handy in Ultima 7. This is Lord Blackthorn's castle, which we got captured. And then the save game, DOS box crashed at that time, so the save game didn't save. And we ended up having to come back and redo this. Eventually get back out. Okay, and what we're doing now is going around and gathering companions. Going back to Lord Blackthorn's castle at some point, I think. Yep, here we go. This time we use the black badge that we got from the oppression. When you say the password at the a few people at the oppression, you get a black badge. You use the black badge when you get here, and no one bothers you. And then I went back to the resistance by the looks of it. Because I'm gathering companions. Like Gorn, we got from Blackthorn's castle, which we'll meet again in Ultima 6 and 7, I'm sure. Dupree and Sentry, they're old friends. There's like 4 other people that we didn't get to meet. We met one of them, I'm pretty sure, but he didn't join our party, so we didn't take him. Because I didn't have any spaces available in the previous episodes. But these are the only people I'm concerned about. These are the people that you'll meet again and form parties with. So there's like 14 odd people that you can choose from to have in your party. I chose the ones that I leveled up already, so I didn't have to go through all that effort again. And here we're exploring Lord Bruce's castle again, because at one point we learnt that there was a magic carpet. We also learnt that there's I thought that was Lord Bruce's room, but it's not. Also, that carpet you can take in the throne room, but it's not a magic carpet. We also learnt that we also need the sandalwood box in Lord Bruce's room, which is behind a portcullis, however you pronounce it. And the wizard here is actually trying to find Mr. Smith, which is a talking horse. He's the one in talking with the horses that you probably barely saw. And you tell him that he's at Iolo's, and he'll tell you to come here. That he had the people here had the magic carpet at one point, and then gave it to Lord British. And here is trying to teach you how to play the harpsichord. So you have to go through this business. It's just a matter of using logic. You can see the notes that we need to play there. They're the first part of the score. There's two parts to it, but you only need to know the first part to it. This is Lord British's room atop the castle. You play on the harpsichord and a room opens up and you get the sandalwood box. And did some exploring because I found out there was a castle here. That lighthouse that we were at before is called Stonehenge, I think. No, this place is called Stonehenge. It's an important location to remember in the future. Ultima 10, mainly. Ultima 9, I mean. This is where all the Shadow Lords are held up, which is why we need to destroy the Shadow Lords, because inside there is the scepter that we need. So we need to get the shards in order to defeat the Shadow Lords, in order to get the scepter. The crown is at Lord Blackthorn's castle in his room. Which is pretty obvious because you can see it on the shelf. With a black badge you can walk in and take it. And of course I fly around for giggles, trying to find another location where there's a glass sword, but I couldn't find it. A note about the magic carpet is when you get off it, the magic carpet drops to the ground, so you have to pick it up again. I've visited all the dungeons to make sure that I know where they are, and that I've found all of them. There's one other dungeon at Mount Doom called Dungeon Doom, but we don't need to worry about that right now. The magic carpet is the reason why we when we get to Mount Doom, we need the magic carpet for some reason. Okay, now that's finished, we'll go back to the map. And as you can see, I put on the names of the dungeons for you, so you guys know where they are too. Over here is where the resistance is, and this island here is where oppression is, but that island is not there because it doesn't line up here. However, this island is actually over here, so keep that in mind when you're playing. And Mount Doom will probably be somewhere around here, most likely. It could be right here at one of these flags. I'll just place that there. Just to recap, these are the spells and the circles they're at. So since the Snape is at level 6, we can cast up to the 6th circle, which involves Charm, Negate Magic, Tremor, Confuse, X-Ray, and some unknown spell there. Okay, here's all the data that are collected. So in order to get the shards, we need to visit these 3 dungeons to see Wrong and Heathloth. I had wrong. I call it Shame, but it's called Wrong. And Yom up there in the runic language is some unknown spell, so we'll get to that at one point. As you can see, I added more symbols to it and combined some of the symbols to create a full moon, and I translated the runic words of powers to a more English variant. Same with the Shadow Lord of Falsehood's name. The locations beside the shards of the Shadow Lords are the underground locations of, when it's located on the overworld. So you'll have to use a special spell. I believe it's called Locate. It should be somewhere in the list here. Or maybe not. At least I can't see it. If you guys can see it, that's fine. Reveal, maybe? That's a great challenge. Anyway, it should be a fairly low level spell. Locate, there it is. Second circle, in whiz, takes Nightshade, which is the reason why I know Nightshade is easily accessible, I think. We don't need to know that. Don't want to do that again. And just so you guys can recap. And I think that's it for now. I think I've covered everything I wanted to cover. If there's not, it'll have to be in the next episode. Okay, thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.